Hello, welcome to episode number 33 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be the second week of July episode of Friday Night SmackDown, as we continue our build to the One Night Stand pay-per-view at the end of the month. Without any further ado, let's jump straight to the show. We open SmackDown with a Firefly Funhouse vignette. It's Ramblin' Rabbit and pals, Mercy the Buzzer and all them. They're gathering around, and then on the television they're watching Goldberg versus The Fiend from Super Showdown. And then they get to the part, Goldberg speared The Fiend twice, he's got him up for a jackhammer. And the TV cuts out. And then Ramblin' Rabbit's like, yo, where'd the power go, dude? And then Bray, puts the glove over his head. And he's like, well, what would he say if you know you were watching it? He says in a really sinister tone. Then he just smiles, and the kids sort of go, aww, and he apologises. He says he knows they're only catching up on their history, but they need to do it quickly, because soon that history will be rewritten. Let me in. Then the actual opening of SmackDown is a wrestling match. Bayley defending her championship against Mandy Rose, who is here and has recovered from her beatdown from Tucker last month. So basically there's a lot of words on your screen, and so what actually happens is it's just a normal match that's going on for a couple of 5 minutes, when all of a sudden the music that J-Flow played would just start up during the match, and Bayley would look across and be distracted as they start playing. Mandy would roll up Bayley and she'd kick out. It would be a nice false finish, but then they continue to play their music as the women's title match is going on. Bayley constantly getting distracted by them, and Sasha Banks at ringside sort of trying to help Bayley, but also bobbing along yeah, this shit slaps, sis. But in the end, it's not enough to distract Bayley enough, and she defeats Mandy Rose and retains her women's title. We come backstage. Sami Zayn knocks on the locker room door of Cesaro. He opens it up, he sees Sami, and he immediately goes to close the door on him, oh god, not this cunt. And Sami stops him, and he's he seriously doesn't know that Nakamura was going to low blow him last week. And Sami's cut the crap, I know what this is all about. He truly does believe Sami values both his friendship and Nakamura's friendship, but he's sick of this now. He's the Intercontinental Champion. He doesn't need Sami or Shinsuke. So to resolve this, you go tell your best friend Shinsuke that he'll see him at One Night Stand, as well as you, Sami, and the three of them will battle it out to see who truly deserves this IC title in a triple threat match. He's well, now, vanish. He takes the gift that Sami would have brought him, I'm sorry, here's a present. He'd take it, and he'd just toss it straight into the trash for a shot, and then turn around and slam the door in Sami's face. So he's announced that at One Night Stand it will be the long-awaited triple threat match. Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro for the IC title. The women's tag team champions are in action. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez defeat Carmella and Dana Brooke. Dakota pins Dana. 29 for Raquel, 41 for Dakota, 45 for Carmella, 31 for Dana. So sort of kind of even. If they didn't have negative chemistry, then they'd both be scoring higher. But I'm going to persevere with it because that is the partnership. And Dakota's doing good. So Dakota grabs the mic. Oh, Alexa and Nikki are supposed to be off screen here. She says Alexa and her little best friend are adorable, and they are welcome to challenge her for the titles at any time. Say, One Night Stand. If you have the guts to show up and prove you are not Let me try that again. If you have the guts to show up and prove you are not what a real team looks like when Dakota will kick your head off, well, if Sonya doesn't get there first. So, of course, Sonya's still on the heels of Alexa, after she feels she didn't deserve the victory over her at Judgment Day. Ali approaches Gulak backstage. He says he checked the footage of the Daniel Bryan assault last week, and he has a lead on who ran over Daniel Bryan. He's come, follow me, and he takes Gulak away with him. Then a random match, Chad Gable defeats Elias with a Chaos Theory. Gets a 67, fucking hell. 56 for Gable, 64 for Elias. Rob Gronkowski is on media duty. He's talking about his time in the NFL and also his current WWE run when he wraps up an interview and he's greeted by Mojo and Shotzi. And they're like, Gronk, where have you been, bro? Last week, James Storm, he beat up Mojo and Lacey, she beat up Shotzi and you were nowhere to be seen. And Gronk is like, well, we need to take it to these Forgotten Sons and I need time to sort of do my media rounds, regroup, but we'll get them. Just you wait. We have our plan and we're going to break it down, as DX would say. So, things not finished between Rob Gronkowski, Mojo Rawley, Shotzi Blackheart, and the Forgotten. Speaking of the Forgotten, Lacey has a match with Naomi. Shotzi, that was obviously a pre-recorded segment, because Shotzi's back at the arena and she's cost Lacey Evans this match against Naomi. Naomi gets a 46, Lacey a 37, 50 rating for this match. It's actually pretty good. But yeah, Lacey has been screwed here tonight by Shotzi Blackheart of GX. Sonya training vignette is just her again in a little training room, punching bag. Had like the kick pads on her, so she's kicking it. And then she's like, I'm still waiting, Alexa. You still haven't answered my request. I'm coming to show you what a real woman training looks like. And it won't end so well for you next time we meet. See you then, Lexi. And then she'll shut the little camera off. So Sonya's still training hard. Her defeat to Alexa has clearly got to her head. Dolph Ziggler cuts a promo. Last week, Jeff Hardy beat him. He went toe-to-toe with the show off and he came out on top. But how tonight, Ziggler has a rematch, and that will not happen again. Except it will. In 9:04, Jeff Hardy defeats Dolph Ziggler with a Swanton Bomb, 61 for Hardy, 60 for Dolph. And they don't seem to click, but I think this is the last time I'm actually doing this match, so it's all fine. Ali is in his little hacker room, and he's got Drew Gulak with him, and he's showing Gulak the footage from the parking lot of last week. And it is of John Morrison exiting the car that ran over Daniel Bryan. And he snapped, he's like, it all makes sense. He's Miz's friend, and Miz and Bryan hate each other. I knew Miz was petty and all, but this seems like a new low, even for him. So the footage Ali has found appears to indicate that John Morrison was the man who ran over Daniel Bryan with the car last week. And I'm sure Drew Gulak's not going to let that fly. Speaking of flying, Kalisto comes out and demands answers from Metalik and Dorado. They walk onto stage, like no music plays, because they just walk on in their little suits and their masks. If they have suits on, they still have their masks on, of course, because we're not unmasking them. And they're with the nameless woman from last week. And Kalisto asks why they attacked him at Judgment Day. He thought the Lucha Spirit bonded them stronger than ever. Now he doesn't even know who they are. And the woman, she interrupts Kalisto. She says the Lucha Spirit does bond them, the real Lucha Spirit, not the house party nonsense that Kalisto pushes. They attacked him because he is what is wrong with Lucha Libre, and under his leadership, they are a joke. But under hers, under the leadership of Cynthia Crespo, Death from Above will be the next SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Metalik and Dorado jump into the ring and they assault Kalisto, and then, it's a new day, yes it is. Biggie and Kofi run out from the back, and they fight off Metalik and Dorado. So a lot to take in here. It's quite an important segment, believe it or not, even though Kalisto is talking in it. The nameless woman has a name. Her name is Cynthia Crespo. And, of course, we can now acknowledge who she actually is. She's Selena De La Renta from MLW, who I had to bring in to be the manager of these heel luchadors. But, of course, the number one question would be, is she not just Zelina Vega Light? Which is why I've had to try and change her name, because her name was Selena, and that's basically what Zelina Vega's name is. And we're keeping it different because she's with masked luchadors on a different brand to Vega. So you've got to try to keep them separate. So I had to give her a new name and new clients with masks instead of like Andrade and Garza and all them. But this is the group. Lucha House Party is no more. They are now going collectively by the tag team name Death from Above, because they're high flyers and they're heels and they like death. So, yeah, and they've got their sight sets apparently on the SmackDown tag team titles. Sammy knocks on Nakamura's door this time instead of Cesaro's, and he answers him without even threatening to slam the door in his face. He tells him that Cesaro wants to face both of them at one night stand in a triple threat match. Shinsuke smiles. He pats Sammy on the head. He's like, "Perfect. Thank you, best friend." And he shuts the door. Very sarcastic, but he appears to have got what he wanted from Sami Zayn. In a 67 rated main event, Roman Reigns and Babatunde have a match. Or Dabba-KO, sorry. And Roman defeats him in 11 minutes after Otis distracts him. 22 for Dabba-KO, 82 for Roman. And the match with the 67, which probably isn't going to help the show rating at all, but there is a segment after it. Plus, we opened with the Funhouse, which did a good rating. So, should be alright. That segment gets an 85. It is the rest of the house laying Roman and Otis out. Braun gives Roman a big power slam through the announce table and roars to end the show, which scores us a 75. I kind of expected to lose Pop with what I put as the main event, but it's fine. What matters more is what you thought of the show, so do let me know what you thought in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for Raw. See you then.